Do you know what Lexus means? Well, I assume that it comes from some ancient Greek. Nope. It doesn't mean anything. It's totally made up by a bunch of professional creatives in Malibu, California. Toyota hired an ad firm and asked them to invent a name that sounded luxurious, high-tech, and vaguely European. Some of the early ideas were Vector, Verone, and Chaparral. Eventually, they landed on Lexus, which some people at the time claimed stood for luxury exports to the US, which it does not. The truth is, it was chosen for how it looked and sounded. So what about every other car name on the road? What does Volvo mean? What exactly is a Mazda? Did you know that SMART is actually an acronym? Where do they come from? What do they mean? I'm breaking down the origin of every single car brand name, country by country, starting right here in the US of A with Ford. Named after its founder, the wildly successful industrialist Henry Ford. This was Ford's third attempt at a car company. Cadillac, named after the French explorer Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac,
Omelette de fromage.
the founder of Detroit. Lincoln, founded in 1917 by Henry Leland. Leland named the company after Abraham Lincoln, the first president that he ever voted for. Wow. Dude, a guy making cars voted for Lincoln? That's crazy. Oldsmobile was founded by a guy named Ransom Olds. As opposed to when my grandpa got kidnapped, I had to give them old ransom. Amongst people who supplied parts for them, two brothers running a machine shop, Horace and John Dodge. The Dodge Brothers Company was a machine shop that started out supplying parts to Detroit automakers like Oldsmobile and Ford before they decided, this, we can do it ourselves. Buick. Yeah, Buick is still around. We checked. Named after Scottish-born inventor David Dunbar Buick. GMC. GMC traces its roots to the Gabrowski Motor Company, which sounds like a character from Tommy Boy.
I can't stop!
The big one, Chevrolet. Chevrolet was named after a Swiss race car driver, Louis Chevrolet. That guy sounds like trouble. Pontiac, rest in peace. The name Pontiac comes from an Ottawa chief who is known for leading resistance against British forces in the Great Lakes region. Chrysler is named after businessman and auto enthusiast Walter P. Chrysler. Plymouth. Now you might be thinking, oh yeah, Plymouth, named after Plymouth Rock, the place where the Pilgrims showed up. Well, guess what, idiot? You'd be fucking wrong. Everybody knows that Plymouth is named after Plymouth binder twine, a name known and trusted by every farmer in America. Just kidding, you're not an idiot. I didn't know that either. Jeep. There's no single agreed upon origin of the name Jeep, but there are plenty of theories. Some say it came from World War I era army slang for a new recruit, or from mechanics shorthand for an unproven vehicle. Others trace it to Eugene the Jeep, a magical creature from the Popeye comics. Another theory ties it to the military abbreviation GP, either for general purpose or as Ford's internal code, where G meant government use and P indicated an 80-inch wheelbase. Whatever the case, by 1942, Jeep had become standard slang for a four-wheel drive military vehicle. And Willys filed for the trademark in 1943 to use in its post-war civilian version, the CJ, short for Civilian Jeep. Little piece of fun me trivia. My older sister was like 2 when I was born, and when she met me in the hospital, she said, James Pumphrey, his initials are GP. And my parents just thought that was so cute. So for my whole childhood, they called me Jeepy or Jeep. Hummer. Before the Hummer, there was the Humvee, an iconic military truck built by AM General. Built by AM General for an general to ride in. When they decided to make a civilian version, they leaned into the military nickname and called it Hummer. Fisker, I barely even know her. Named after founder Henrik Fisker. This guy is good at designing cars. He designed the BMW Z8. The Aston Martin DB9, and the Tesla Model S. Can't win them all. It is good looking. Ram. Dodge first introduced Ram named vehicles in 1980, drawing on the Ram hood ornament used on Dodge trucks back in the 1930s and 40s. Saturn started in 1982 as a GM project to build small cars that could compete with Japanese imports. The name came from the Saturn V rocket, a Cold War symbol of America beating the Soviets to the moon. The metaphor was clear. U.S. automakers racing the Japanese. Tesla, named by founders Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning before Elon Musk even got involved, to honor Serbian-American inventor Nikola Tesla, who developed the AC induction motor that powers their cars. Lucid, the name came out of a deep dive branding process by Lexicon Branding. 3 separate creative teams generated dozens of options, and Lucid came out on top. When I was living in Louisville, Kentucky, I was 18 or 19. My friend Stanley tried to convince our whole friend group to start keeping dream journals so that we could train ourselves to lucid dream, and then we could meet up in Tyler Park when we were sleeping. And I think it was at that moment that I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. I'm going to the coast. I'm not gonna train myself to hang out with you guys in my sleep. You gotta get out of here. Thanks, Stanley. If you're anything like me, I have some unfortunate news. You may be suffering from a chronic condition known as one-sidedness. But you're not alone. Millions of Americans every year only consume information that's fed to them by their algorithm. But there's hope. Ask your doctor or scan the QR code to learn about ground news. Ground news lets you see how different news outlets across the political spectrum are covering the same story. Take this story, for example. White House mocks woke Superman movie with Trump picture that'll infuriate Hollywood elites. Now compare that to how it was framed elsewhere. The White House slammed for lame Superman post of Donald Trump. So which is it? Well, on Ground News, you can see how many sources are covering the story. 136 in this case. Review all of the headlines stacked together to quickly see the full range of perspectives. And you can see ownership info to see who's actually behind the headlines. It also has this thing called the blind spot feed, which shows you stories that are getting a ton of coverage on one side of the aisle, but none on the other.
Since I started using Ground News, I've experienced fewer flare-ups of echo chamber one-sidedness.
Scan the QR code to see if Ground News is right for you. No wonder they have over 10,000 5-star reviews.
Side effects may include sudden critical thinking, a more balanced worldview, and a reduced sense of rage. One-sidedness is a chronic condition that requires continual treatment. Subscribe to get 40% off unlimited access Vantage Plan by scanning this QR code or go to ground.news/speed. That makes it only $5 a month. Link in the description.
Rivian. Originally called Mainstream Motors, which is bad, they eventually became Rivian, a portmanteau of river and Indian. Founder RJ Scaringe chose the name as a tribute to the Indian River in Florida, where he spent time growing up. Before we cross the Atlantic, a rapid fire of a few more. DeLorean, named after founder John DeLorean. Fascinating guy. Fake chin. AMC, short for American Motors Corporation. Eagle, after buying AMC, Chrysler spun Eagle into a sub-brand named after the AMC Eagle. Callaway, named after Reeves Callaway. Reeves Callaway actually emailed me because I made a video about Callaway, and he said that I got everything right. And it meant a lot to him. And that email meant a lot to me, and I still have it. Hennessy, named after founder John Hennessy. Panos, very limited supercars, same deal. Named after Dan Panos. Mosler, founded by Warren Mosler. Guys, sometimes you don't need to name a company after yourself. And we can't forget the company named after my dad, Carroll Shelby. Shelby. One of my favorite car companies. Yeah, they modify Fords, but they also build their own cars. And not to be confusing at all, last on the list, SSC or Shelby Supercars, founded by Jared Shelby, who's not related to Carroll Shelby, builders of the SSC Ultimate Aero, the fastest car in the world for a few years. That's it for American Car Companies. Time to get your boarding pass and go to Europe. This is actually a bookmark that we made, and you can get it for free if you buy a performative reader tote on speed.co. It's for our book club, but anybody can buy one. While we're on our way to Europe, I want to point out that this list, while exhaustive, isn't every car company ever.
There are over 3,000 car companies that either do or have existed. So I've tried to cull it down to a list of the most relevant ones that you guys want to hear about without this video becoming 4 hours long. Let me know what I miss, and we'll be landing in Heathrow right now.
Ooh, wow. England, the place where my face comes from. Rolls-Royce car dealer Charles Rolls and engineer Henry Royce partnered to sell high-end vehicles that paired Royce's precision engineering with Rolls's luxury sensibility. They also designed the Merlin V12 engine used in P-51 Mustangs, the airplane that saved the world. Bentley, founded by Walter Owen Bentley in 1919, backed by a group of wealthy racing enthusiasts known as the Bentley Boys. Aston Martin. The Aston Martin name came from co-founder Lionel Martin and the Aston Clinton hill climb course that he raced on. McLaren. Yeah. What's up, Lando? I'll call you back. Zach Brown. I'll call you back. Oscar. Call me back. Started in 1963 as Bruce McLaren Motor Racing, a Formula One team founded by the New Zealand-born driver and engineer Bruce McLaren. Lotus. Now, the reason that founder Colin Chapman chose the name Lotus for his car company, nobody knows. Lotus doesn't even know. They admit it. One theory is that he called his wife Hazel Lotus Blossom. Another less credible theory suggests that he saw an ad for a toilet paper brand called Lotus and was like, that's what I'm going to name my cars. I believe the girlfriend story. Jaguar. It's named after a cat. Originally founded as the Swallow Sidecar Company in 1922, during World War II, the name SS became less than ideal. Tell me about it. I just recently started a car company called ICE. After the war, they rebranded as Jaguar. We actually made a really long video about the entire history of Jaguar. I'm going to put the link in the description. You should watch it. It's good. Land Rover. It roves land. I don't know. F*** you. Originally designed for farm use, complete with a steering column that you could attach tractor equipment to. Mini. It's called Mini because it was small. TVR, it's a car company named after a guy named Trevor. T-R-E-V-O-R. Trevcar. Ariel, named after the mermaid. JK, literally, though not very far off. It was named after the Shakespearean spirit from the Tempest, symbolizing lightness and agility. Gordon Murray, the mastermind behind the McLaren F1, now makes ultralight hypercars and calls it his whole name instead of just his last name. BAC stands for Briggs Automotive Company, founded by brothers Neil and Ian Briggs. They make the Back Mono, a single-seat street-legal track car for people who hate passengers. Noble, founded by Lee Noble in 1999. Caterham, named after the town where the company's based. Morgan was founded in 1909 by HFS Morgan, who literally built his first car just so he could drive it. They still make three-wheeled cars with wooden frames. Let's go to Spain. SEAT stands for Sociedad Española de Automóviles de Turismo, which translates to Spanish Passenger Car Company. Now we're done with Spain. Let's go to another country who famously loves American tourists. France. Renault. Originally Renault Frères, which means Renault brothers. The company was founded by Louis Renault and his two older brothers. Peugeot. The Peugeot name goes all the way back to 1810, when the family business made everything from tools to coffee mills to bicycles. They built their first car in 1889. Half of the family was like, hey, these car things are pretty sweet. I think we made a pretty good one. We should continue to make these. The other half of the family was like, no, and they split. So like Peugeot still makes pepper grinders, and the pepper grinders are really, really nice. Citroën. Named after founder André Citroën. Bugatti. Is it Italian? Is it France? Depends on what year. named after Ettore Bugatti, an Italian-born engineer who set up shop in Molsheim, France. Netherlands. Spyker, originally a Dutch company and airplane maker founded in 1880 by two blacksmith brothers, Jacobus and Hendrik Jan Spyker. Let's go to Sweden. Saab. Saab began in 1937 as an aircraft company. Svenska Aeroplan Aktiebolaget. Company is in Swedish is Aktiebolaget. Aktiebolaget. That's why their commercials used to say born from jets. Volvo. It means I roll in Latin. I'm going to start saying Volvo when I'm about to leave somewhere. All right, guys. Volvo. Koenigsegg, named after founder Christian von Koenigsegg, my favorite bald billionaire. Polestar, named after strippers. Named after the North Star. Clean, modern, and meant to guide the way forward. Let's go over to Germany.
It was the greatest beer in all the world.
One of my favorite car companies, I have their logo tattooed on my arm. Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes was the daughter of Emil Jelinek. Emil Jelinek was a car dealer and a race car promoter who commissioned custom cars. He entered those cars in races under the name Mercedes, and that caught on and became a brand in its own right. Benz refers to Carl Benz. He's the inventor of the first automobile, Maybach, named after Wilhelm Maybach, one of the early pioneers of German engineering. BMW originally started as Rapp Motorwerk in 1913, building aircraft engines. After Karl Rapp left, the company was restructured and renamed Bayerisch Motorenwerk. Bayerisch means Bavarian. Bavarian Motorworks. BMW. The BMW logo is like an airplane propeller. Audi. August Horsch founded a car company under his own name in 1899, but after getting forced out a decade later, he started a new one. He couldn't use Horsch again. He translated it to Latin. Horch means listen in German. Audi means listen in Latin. Volkswagen. Volkswagen means people's car. The brand was created under the Nazi regime to provide affordable transport for the German population, an idea popularized by Hitler. Kind of like the Slate. I love Volkswagen. Definitely has a dark history that you have to acknowledge. But we're going to make a really long video on it. Let me know in the comments if you want that. The original Beetle design was developed by Ferdinand Porsche. Speaking of Ferdinand Porsche, he named a company after himself. The first Porsche branded car, the 356, arrived in 1948, led by his son, Ferry Porsche. SMART. Did you know that it's an acronym? It's short for Swatch Mercedes Art Car. Yeah, the guys who make the funny watches have been trying to build a compact city car since the early 80s. Daimler-Benz finally said yes and developed the Smart with Swatch. Pretty cool. Rapid fire German cars. Alpina started as a typewriter business near the Alps. Alpina. Brabus, named after founders Klaus Brackmann and Bodo Buschmann. Roof, named after Alois Roof, like the roof of a house. Opel. Adam Opel started a sewing machine company in 1862. His sons expanded the business into bicycles in the 1880s and later into cars in 1898. Monaco. Venturi, named after the Venturi effect in fluid dynamics, a principle crucial to aerodynamics. Things about to get a little bit more red in here because we're going to Italy, baby.
Mi scusi.
Fiat, founded in 1899. Fiat stands for Fabbrica Italiana dei Automobili Torino, which translates to Italian Automobile Factory of Turin. And no, it doesn't mean fix it again, Tony. It doesn't mean that. Alfa Romeo, founded in 1910 as Alfa Anonima Lombarda Fabbrica Automobili, or Lombard Automobile Factory. In 1915, the company was taken over by engineer and entrepreneur Niccolo Romeo and renamed Alfa Romeo in 1918. Lancia, founded in 1906 by Vincenzo Lancia, a former Fiat racing driver, and his business partner Claudio Fogolin. Abarth, Fiat's longtime performance partner, named after Carlo Abarth. Ferrari, ever heard of it? Named after Enzo Ferrari, the founder of Ferrari, a guy that was so awesome at making cars and also so mean that it inspired another awesome Italian car company, Lamborghini. My favorite car drama. Ferruccio Lamborghini was a tractor magnate which is a guy who makes a lot of tractors, and he didn't like the clutch in his Ferrari. So he told Enzo how he thought he could improve his cars. And Enzo was so mean to him. He told him to go back to farming. And Ferruccio was so mad that he went and told all the other tractor guys, hey guys, we're not making tractors as much anymore. We're going to make the fastest car in the world. And then they did, just to piss off the guy for being mean to him. Maserati. The Maserati brothers, Alfieri, Bindo, Carlo, Ettore, and Ernesto, started the company De Tomaso. Alejandro De Tomaso was an Argentinian, Italian industrialist. Pagani, founded by Horacio Pagani, a former Lamborghini engineer who went solo and launched his own hypercar brand. Now we're going to the Czech Republic. Škoda, named after Czech industrialist Emil Škoda, which sounds like a name of a Czech industrialist. Croatia. Rimac is the only Croatian car company on this list, and the founder is the only founder that I have actually met. We ate burgers together, stared deep into each other's eyes and said, you're an innovator. No, you're an innovator. Mata Rimac, his supercar company, has gone to build some of the fastest electric hypercars in the world and eventually merged with Bugatti to form Bugatti Rimac. Probably my coolest friend. Sorry, guys. Romania. Dacia. Named after the ancient Roman province of Dacia, which covered much of present-day Romania. If you don't know what a Dacia is, it's that shitty sedan in PUBG that flips over if you breathe on it wrong. On to Russia. UAZ. This is the boxy truck in PUBG. The name stands for this, which translates to this. Gaz, short for this. Lada. We all love a Lada, named after a traditional Russian boat. Best known for their indestructible cars, the Riva, and her sister, the Niva. Turkey. The only car company from Turkey on this list is TOG. The name is an acronym for Türkiye'nin Otomobili Girişim Grubu, or Turkey's Automobile Initiative Group. We are in India, and we're talking about Tata. Tata, named after industrialist Jamshedji Tata. Tata Motors began in 1945 as a locomotive manufacturer. Today, it owns Jaguar Land Rover. Mahindra, named after its founders. It's the last name of the founders. You know, when Redpath pitched this idea, I said, all right, man, that sounds really good, but we got to do all of them. And they were like, are you sure? That's a lot of words to say. I was like, yeah, let's do it. I think that's the good part. Well, let me tell you guys, we're about 3/4 of the way through this list, and I had no idea how hard it was going to be. My throat hurts. There's so many words in this video that I don't even know how to pronounce. But we have committed to telling you the origin of every car company on Earth. And you know what I'm not going to do? Quit. So let's go. My throat hurts. Mahindra, named after co-founders Jagdish and Kailash Mahindra. Maruti Suzuki. The name Maruti comes from a form of the Hindu god Hanuman, symbolizing speed, strength, and devotion, aka reliability. When the company partnered with Suzuki, it became Maruti Suzuki. Now let's make like the other Speed and go to China. First up, Great Wall. It's named after the Great Wall of China. BYD, the freaking big dog at the dance right now. The EV juggernaut. It stands for Build Your Dreams. The slogan appears freaking everywhere, including on the cars. They hot swap batteries, you guys. Geely. Geely means lucky in Chinese. Sick. Cherry with one R. In Chinese, the brand is simply called Chire, combining characters for unique and auspicious. Nio, N-I-O. Neo doesn't mean anything. They just thought everyone would think it sounded cool. And guess what? It does, because it's Keanu Reeves from The Matrix. Zote, known mostly for unapologetic knockoffs of Western cars, like real-life Grand Theft Auto cars. Again, it is another completely made-up name, something that sounds modern and exportable. Wrong way. The name translates to glorious power. Malaysia. Malaysia doesn't have dozens of car brands, but it does have two that matter. They're hometown heroes, and that should be celebrated. Proton. Proton is an acronym which stands for that, which roughly translates to National Automobile Enterprise. Perodua. Perodua is Malaysia's second national automaker. Perodua stands for this, which roughly translates to Second Automobile Company Private Limited. Now we're in Vietnam. VinFast. You may have seen them in the mall. The name VinFast is an acronym built from Vietnamese words, and then they take the sound of all of the Vietnamese words, and that forms an acronym that's pronounced in English. South Korea, a place I would love to go. Kia. The name combines characters that mean to arise, ki, and Asia. Cool. Hyundai. The name means modern, and their goal was to build a modern Korean car company. I think they did it. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of those on the road. And also, they have a luxury car company now called Genesis. The name Genesis obviously means beginning. Guys, we are finally in Japan. Toyota. Toyota was founded by a guy named Soichiro Toyoda. The company is called Toyota. Why? Well, from their website, and I quote, the word Toyota uses 10 Japanese strokes to write, while Toyota only uses 8. 8 is considered a lucky number in Japanese culture. For these reasons, Toyota was chosen instead of Toyota. There you have it. Honda. Started by Soichiro Honda, the company first manufactured piston rings before expanding into motorcycles, took a break for a while, brewed whiskey in the woods, and then came back and started making cars. Just like pulled a Bon Iver, just got like hammered for like 3 years on like homemade whiskey, and then was like, you know what I should do? I should make cars. And then made one of the most successful car companies in the history of the planet. Guy fucking rules. Subaru is the automotive division of a much larger company. It was formed when 5 giant Japanese industrial companies merged. They adopted the name Subaru, which is the Japanese name for the Pleiades star cluster, as a nod to that union. It has 1 large star, which is the company, and then 5 small ones, which is all the other companies. It's also downright sweet because it's like, guys, this is our company, and then this is each one of us. It's like sorority girls getting tattoos. So this 1 star is my family, and then this star is my brother Deacon, and then this star is my grandma Mimi. I love tattoos with meaning. Like, what do your tattoos mean? This is a plant. Mazda. The name Mazda was chosen because of Ahura Mazda, the god of harmony, intelligence, and wisdom from the earliest civilization in West Asia, and for its similarity to the company's founder's name, Jujiro Matsuda. Mitsubishi, one of the most badass car companies ever, just making rip-roaring, fire-breathing cars that are fast as hell and kind of uncomfortable to drive. The name Mitsubishi combines the word Mitsu, which means 3. Oh boy, 3 what? And Hishi, which means, I can't wait, 3 what? Water chestnuts. Means 3 water chestnuts. And that's what the diamonds are. Water chestnuts. Datsun. Originally, the dot was a single car. The letters were the initials of the 3 company partners. In 1930, Japan made a law that said if a car had less than 500 cc's, then anyone could drive it, even without a license. And Dot was like, yo, we should make a bunch of these cars. And they called that whole line of cars Datsun. Speaking of Datsun, Nissan. Nissan is a contraction of Nihon Sangyo, and it literally means Japanese industries. Jastries. Infinity. Infinity means forever. Means forever. And they chose it because it suggested endless possibilities. When possibilities are endless, one of the possibilities is that all of your cars will end up like super clapped out and driven by scumbags in like takeovers and stuff. That's one of the possibilities. There is a dimension and a reality where Jerry Seinfeld just bought a $1 million Infiniti G35. Acura sounds like accurate. That's because It is. Honda wanted a name that sounded like that, that conveyed technical excellence. Acura is a sick name. You know? Guys, I'm so tired, but we're going to get through all of these car names because it's important to me that you know the origin of every car company on the planet that we could remember. A lot of them are named after guys, but you know what? A lot of them aren't named after guys, and those are the ones that we'll remember. Those are the ones that we'll bring up at parties. Did you know that Mitsubishi means 3 water chestnuts? Did you know that the Subaru logo represents 5 friends? We're almost done. Lexus, you know this one. It's chosen for how it looked and sounded. It might be short for the name Alexis because they thought that sounded like a rich girl's name. That is real. Scion is a literal word meaning descendant or heir. The name was a nod to his role as the next generation of Toyota customers. Suzuki, founded by Michio Suzuki in 1909, was originally a loom manufacturing company. And then in the 30s, they started making cars and motorcycles. And they still do. Only we don't get the cars anymore. Why can't we have a tiny G-Wagon? Why? Daihatsu. Daihatsu is from Osaka. And in Japanese, the letter O from Osaka is pronounced Dai. Combine that with Hatsudoki, which means engine, you get Daihatsu. Finally, we've reached the end of the list, and what better place to have the afters than America's even funner cousin, Australia's house. Australia, the home of the original Project X. This guy.
Take off your glasses and apologize to us.
I'll say sorry, but I'm not taking off my glasses.
And if you like cars and you hear Australia, you naturally think Holden. Holden began in 1856 as a saddlery business, which means they made saddles. They're founded by a dude named James Alexander Holden. Holdens are sick, and you guys are sick for sticking it out with me. This video is way longer than I thought it would be. It definitely took longer to make than I thought it would, but we made it, guys. Now we know the origin of every car brand name. And I know that you took notes and retained all of that information. So when I see you, I'm going to quiz you. Go to speed.co, get yourself a shirt or a bag or a sticker pack. Got a lot of stuff over there. We have a podcast that comes out every other week. It's only available to the Legion of Speed, which is our membership program. You can find out more about that on speed.co. Just go to speed.co, poke around. It's a pretty good website. Follow me on Instagram at James Pumphrey. Follow Speed at speedco. I love you. Volvo.